Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Hoffman of EnlighteningLife.com, and in this video, which is the newsletter for the week of April 8th, 2019, I'm going to do a video because the concepts that I'm going to talk about, congruence, becoming 360, alignment, integration, what happens when you decide you want a different path in your life, you don't want to do what you're doing, you want to do something else, are better explained in a video. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the concept of becoming 360, which you've heard me talk about since 2011. I've kind of discussed it. It's a matter of integration and alignment and mastery and creating abundance and making our lives stick together. So I'm going to use my little salad guy here. I don't have a prop that is appropriate, but so when your life is congruent, everything's in the same place. It kind of sticks together. But the real purpose of congruence is to make a life that's coherent, that makes sense to us, where we know what's happening, we feel safe and secure. And one thing I want to stress here, and I have to address this issue with my clients a lot, never underestimate the importance of safety and security. So when you feel safe in your life, you feel in control, you feel you can manage things, there are not going to be any bad surprises. We have a very strong need for safety and security. And if those safety and security needs aren't met, that's when we get into trouble. We start trying to fill in the gaps and trying to make things work. Well, that just creates a lack of coherence, and then that creates a lack of congruence, and now we're no longer a 360 model. So when we start out, we always try and make this 360. We are always trying to keep this little circle we live in safe and secure. And we do that in a number of ways. We do it through creating false congruence. We fill in the gaps. We create a relationship. We create self-fulfilling prophecies. We sabotage ourselves. If we're afraid of success, for example, we'll reach for success, but if we're afraid that it's going to change our lives in some way, we will create no success, and that will make us feel safe and secure because we don't know what's going to happen when we step out of the safe circle of the existing 360 paradigm that we've created for ourselves. But at some point, and this happens to all of us, we decide this is too small, this reality doesn't fit anymore. So we create a new intention. Well, what does that intention do? It disintegrates our reality. And disintegrate doesn't mean dissolves into little pieces. Disintegrate means integration is together. Disintegration means this reality starts coming apart. So now we have another problem. We have no control. We don't feel safe and secure. We have set an intention. We don't know how we're going to get there, which leads me to my second problem. So I'm going to draw a little stick figure here because that represents you. And all right, I hope you can see this. So this little figure is you, and this is the path that you're on. So on this path, you've created this 360 model of your life. Now, creating congruence, creating coherence, creating alignment with what you have doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. It means that you feel like you're in control. So you may have a really small life and you may not be happy, but you feel in control. So we often think there's a trade-off. I can be happy or I can be in control. And we generally choose control because, again, never underestimate your safety and security needs. So what happens? So you decide, okay, this life is too small for me. I set a new intention. I want to put my path up here. Well, that's dandy, but remember this path here, you know what's going to happen here. This is what's always happened. This may be what your parents did, what your parents taught you. So you know what this path is. So you set an intention. What's the first thing you see? There's a blank space. So what happens when you start aligning with your intention and integrating the energy that's required for your intention? First of all, your desire is to move this 360 up to here. Okay, I'm up here, now I'm at a different frequency, I'm happy, but that doesn't work because remember, because this 360 has been disintegrated, it's come apart. So the first thing that happens when you create an intention is, instead of your path being a straight line, it's a little dashed line with a whole bunch of spaces in between. So now think of driving down a road and every other foot there's a big pothole. So now you start here and you go, okay, I'm here. Oops, I don't have any energy to take me to this part. What do I need to do? So what you do is you go down to your previous path and you do the healing work, the completion work that needs to be done for here, and then you come up to get the energy that you need to fill in this gap. Now that's creating true congruence. When we create false congruence, what we do is we try and find something, anything to fill this gap. So we go back down here, and instead of doing the healing, we just bring that energy back up here. Oh, I left my relationship. I don't have another one. Let me find any relationship to fill in the loneliness gap. So we pick another relationship and we think, darn, my intention for a relationship didn't work because now I've got a relationship that's just like my old relationship. Well, it did work, except you didn't do the healing work and then go up and get a new frequency to fill in that gap. You just brought the old energy down. We always need to be ascending, which what really means is raising our vibe, raising our frequency to get new energy in, or we just end up basically repurposing the same old energy over and over again. So rather than creating a path that's up here, we just kind of bring this old path up here, and we're still unhappy and we're still unfulfilled and we're still feeling like we've run out of energy road. So this path, once you reach this thing that says, I don't want this anymore, and I've used this expression so many times, you've run out of energy road. There is no more energy on this path that's going to make you happy or fulfill you. You need to go up here. You need to raise your vibes in order to find something that's going to make you happy. But as you're doing that, realize too that once you set an intention, you don't just take this path and stick it up here and go, oh, okay, here's my new intention. Because your new intention involves a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new way of looking at yourself, a new frequency, which means you're going to have gaps here because you don't know what's in this gap. So this requires new knowledge, new understanding that is part of a new becoming 360. So you don't just take your old 360 paradigm and plunk it up here. You've got a new 360 paradigm that now you have to figure out how to align with, integrate, and bring in new energy to make this possible. So say, for example, you decide you're going to start a business and you've been an employee for many, many years. And I teach this in my business course because this is also what happened to me, except I got laid off 6 times in 8 years, and that's why I decided to start my business. But say you're an employee, you decide to start a business. So you take the mindset of, I'm going to get a paycheck every week, and I'm going to do my little work, and I'm going to just, now I'm self-employed. Well, that doesn't work, because one of the things you quickly learn as a business owner is you have to generate revenue, you have to sell, you have to market, you have to launch, you have to bring customers in, you have to figure out your programs. So this former safe, I'm getting my paycheck every 2 weeks, doesn't just go up here. It actually requires that you do the learning that's necessary to create the energy flow that's in harmony. And that's part of what I teach as part of the Becoming 360 model. It's not about wholeness. It's not about just congruence. It's about harmony and flow. So when you live at a 360 degree level, you create harmony and flow. Now, as I've often taught, you need to be careful that you're creating true congruence and not false congruence. False congruence is you take whatever's there to fill in the gap, and true congruence is you raise your vibes, you create a new energy frequency, you understand what it means to be aligned, you understand what it means to integrate energy, to make room for it. And one of the ways I've described this, true congruence versus false congruence, is I used to have a car that got wrecked, but my son wrecked my car. and he did quite a bit of damage to it. Pretty much tore off the whole bumper and really damaged the right quarter panel. And I had to have the whole quarter panel rebuilt. The light was broken, so all of that had to be fixed. Well, after a few months, the parking light kept on falling out. And I took it back to the body shop, and they said, well, because of this amount of damage, we really couldn't, put the light in so that it stayed. It's not back to factory level. So they said, there's really no way for you to fix this. We could glue the light in, but then you'd never be able to take the light out to get to replace the bulb. So basically, they told me you're going to have to deal with it. So what did I do? I went to the hardware store and I bought some chrome colored duct tape. So every time my light would fall out, I would get my duct tape out and I would duct tape that light back in. Now, from a distance, you really couldn't tell. But if you got up close, you could see, wow, that light has duct tape on it. So was it congruent? Yeah, the light was in where it was supposed to be, but was it really congruent? No, because I was using duct tape. So as you're listening to this, I want you to look at, where in your life do you duct tape things together? And it's not something to judge yourself or criticize yourself about, because it's what you do to survive, to stay safe and secure. So whatever you do in this Becoming 360 model, in raising your vibes and moving into a new path, setting new intentions, each of these gaps that happens, this is a gap right here, each of these gaps that occurs is a threat to your safety and security. So you're going to fill that gap with things that will help you feel safe and secure. If you don't have confidence in yourself, you're going to go back down to your old life, your old path, and go, okay, what makes me feel safe and secure? And how can I just stick it up here and duct tape it in place? When you learn through the process of creating this, you have working at the same time the new intention, the new ways of aligning, the new energy you can bring in, and the new process you can put in place to make this as a transition that's really smooth, so that you are filling in the gaps as you go and realizing that, oh, this is an opportunity for healing. Which, by the way, those of you who talk about healing don't realize, and I've never seen anybody else say this, I think I'm the only one, healing is actually a process of completion and closure. It's not about fixing things. It's not about making things better. It's getting completion and closure with the situation. Those things that haunt you, that bother you, that the regrets you have, the sadness, it's about you getting completion and closure with them. And I teach that in my Becoming 360 program. So as you are moving into this new space, and we're all doing this, by the way, this is part of the 3D, 5D integration. This is part of the ascension cycle. This is happening to everybody. You run out of energy road. You set a new intention for a reality. Somehow you think that I'm going to take this complete model of my life and just stick it up here and then I'll be happy. And then the first thing you realize is, oh, there's a gap. What am I supposed to do? I didn't anticipate this. So you have to keep yourself moving forward as you are going up and down, getting completion and closure, bringing in new energy, putting it in that gap. And interestingly enough, when I was out earlier this morning, the main road by my house is being repaved. So they're not just fixing the holes, they're actually removing the entire top level of asphalt and replacing it. So if you've never seen an asphalt grinder, it's this huge machine that makes a terrific amount of noise, and it drives really slowly across the road, and it has these grinders at the bottom of it, and the grinders grind up the asphalt. They put it through a conveyor and it shoots out the top, and there's a truck right that drives right in front of it, and the truck gets filled with the asphalt, which I'm glad they recycle it, and then the machine keeps on going, and then a little machine comes behind it and cleans up the mess. So this is what we're doing. We are grinding up that old path because it no longer serves us. It's full of potholes. It's not making us happy. And then we are pushing our intention to new levels. But we don't just plunk this thing up here and go, okay, now I'm at a new level. we have to deal with the energy gaps. We have to deal with the gaps that represent the new ways of thinking, the new ways of understanding, the new levels of awareness that we need to embrace in order to create another becoming 360 model, so that this old 360 model that we had, and we had to open it up because we need to bring in new energy, and we move it to a different level, and now we create new levels of true congruence, of true harmony, of energy flow that isn't about duct taping our life together. It's about creating a life that we truly love and where the energy flows in divine harmony. So I hope this has been helpful for you. We are entering a really busy week and a really busy energy cycle. So remember to keep your intentions high, keep your vibes high, shine your lights brightly. And whenever you see an energy gap, remember that it's there because there's some completion and closure that needs to happen in order for you to bring in new frequencies and close that gap for yourselves. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Remember to visit me at enlighteninglife.com.